What's going on, y'all? Welcome to another Friday night live interactive sports talk. It's your boy, Stephen Box, joined as always by my co-host, the one and the only.
Cool McCain.
And together, we are the Play Callers. Yes, sir. It is Friday, so y'all know what that means. It's the Play Color Sports Talk Show. And tonight we are doing a preview of Week 5 in the NFL with a couple of specific games and breaking down some of the other big stories from the week in sports this week. So cool. Tell the peoples what we got in store for them this week, man.
Well, of course, man. We're going to talk a little NBA news. It's always something happening in the NBA, right? And it's normally surrounding one particular gentleman, but it is what it is. Got a little NFL news. A little big injury last night. We may just slightly discuss now that we got more details. And, of course, we might touch on a little college football. But it's all about the NFL at the end of the day.
Yes, sir. Especially this time of year, man. It's October. I know there's somebody out there right now that's saying to themselves, but Box, what about Major League Baseball? What about it? NFL season, baby.
I mean, the Braves are in the NLDS, so that's a good thing. But, hey, it's only an hour, man. Something kind of gets brushed to the side, and until we get down to the World Series, it's probably going to be baseball. Just being honest with you.
Now, if you guys want to start giving some donations, go ahead and make it worthwhile for us to do like a 3-hour show every Friday. We'll fit some baseball in.
Prioritize, people. Prioritize it.
Yeah. And if you feel like, a donation's not really an appropriate thing, call it a sponsorship. We can get a segment named after you or something, make it work, man.
It's all about making it work.
So I know you want to get to this NBA story, but let's talk a little bit about that game last night before we dive into that. So fun game, very interesting game. Apparently at the end of that game, nobody wanted to play defense.
Well, I don't know if I'd say fun, but it got better at the end. I'll say that.
Yeah. So the first question is, how many people actually were shocked to find out who Seattle's backup quarterback was?
Well, I wasn't, but apparently a lot of people were.
Yeah, I'm going to be a real man. I didn't even know the dude was still in the league.
Yeah, I knew he got signed. I knew he was the backup, so I wasn't surprised. To me, the surprise was Russell Wilson actually getting injured and now being out, possibly 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah.
So, I did initially pick Seattle to win a division, but that was with a healthy Russell Wilson. So we're going to now rescind that selection because, hey, I had no knowledge of knowing that the most dependable quarterback in the league, or one of them, was going to jack his finger up, and he jacked it up bad. So it was good.
And what we've all learned from this is don't make contact with Aaron Donald. That's really what we learned today. Man, it's literally a brick wall.
Well, if we didn't already know that, then we probably don't watch football at all.
Well, maybe Russ doesn't watch football there because he,
Well, it wasn't his choice. I don't know if you saw the play. It wasn't his choice. It was on this follow through from the throw. I'm sure if he had an opportunity, he would have gotten away from him. But so he's going to be out for a while, man. So that's really a big detriment to Seattle. But there is one thing I'm going to throw out there. What's good, Tyler?
What's up,
Green
Tyler?
Bay guy. But one thing I'm going to throw out there, Cam Newton is available. Cam Newton is way better than Geno Smith. I'm just saying, you might want to try to win some games. Just saying. I
would argue that there's quite a few guys that you could bring back at this point that would be better options than Geno Smith. I know a lot of people are going to say, he looked really good last night. keep in mind that there was absolutely no film. The Rams had absolutely no indication they were going to be playing this dude.
They might not even know he was the backup quarterback.
They might not have. So,
but not for real. Yeah.
I mean, sometimes we see that when backups come in the game. Like, they look really good, and then the next week, once, teams actually have a chance to properly prepare, it's a different story.
I'm just going to say, simply, this dude is 30 years old, and we didn't even know he was still in the NFL. That's not the guy that you want to be starting. That may be what you're forced to do because of cap issues, but that's not, that's not what you really want to do. So, that's not a good look. No wisdom in that whatsoever.
So the other big thing to me that came out of that last night was we talked about it on this show when we did the NFC West preview, that the Rams defense was not going to be as good as it was last year. Mm-hmm. That they lost a lot of important role players. Yes, they still had their stars, but they lost a lot of important role players. And we've seen a couple of times where their defense hasn't looked great, but you've overlooked it because they were playing against great offenses. But for them to get just absolutely smoked by Geno Smith, even coming into the game unexpectedly, you don't let him march down the field 98 yards. And look, they didn't even have a running game, really. So he just basically came out and just threw the ball on you. It was hitting wide open receivers. That Rams defense got exposed last night for what they really are.
They absolutely did. They absolutely did. And that's the thing, man. But I will say on the other end of that, I am very surprised at how well that Stafford has been playing. And I was a person that said I'm not really a big believer in Stafford. I'm still not. So I'm not changing that stance. It's just so far I'm surprised at how well he's been playing. Billy V, you may be right. Cam may not get another job in the NFL, but I'm just saying, if I'm actually trying to win games, Geno Smith or Cam Newton, I'm going to go with Cam Newton 11 out of 10 times. But again, cap situations, they feel like bringing him in is going to be something that's going to be beneficial long-term because you're expecting Russell Wilson back probably this season. Maybe some factors, but I think if you're wanting to try to win some games without him, you have to go out and get the best of what's available. And to me, to play the style that he plays, I think Cam would be honestly a good fit. I'm not just saying it because it's Cam, but really, I think he could slide into what he does.
So we got a couple of people tuning in. Megan, what's up? Appreciate you joining us. And,
Megan.
So Joe comes on and says that the Ravens came to Denver and did that. And I will give you a credit for that, Joe, but I will also point out that the opposing quarterback did get a concussion. And that might have had something to do with the outcome of the game.
But I'm just saying that doesn't take away from what Lamar did, though.
Lamar, it doesn't. Yeah,
I just got to throw that out there.
But to be fair, I also did say on the show that the problem was not that Lamar couldn't do it. It was his offensive coordinator never allows him to do it. So I did say that.
Well, there you go.
So Billy V says that they're going to treat Cam like they did Cap. Well, keep in mind, Billy, that the one person that we know for a fact that actually brought Kaepernick in for a workout on 2 separate occasions was Pete Carroll. So,
I mean, I'm just saying, man. I'm not saying that Cam is or isn't done because Megan thinks he's done as well. Yeah. But I'll say this, and I want everybody to understand this. And actually, Joseph just kind of touched on what I was about to say. Cam's situation is injury, and he hasn't played as well the last few years, but you have seen glimpses. He's better than Mac Jones right now, but you had to do what you had to do. Now, the issue with Cam is the vaccination status.
That's Tyler.
How Tyler? Tyler and Joe, man, stop. Y'all stop, man. It's like y'all jumping in my mind. Stop, man. I gotta close it off. No, just playing. But yeah, that's the thing. You have to do that. And Billy, I do agree with you. Yeah, he did get the job as far as Mac Jones, but I think that's more so a lot of other things than actual play on the field right now. But the thing is, Cam's out there. You need a quarterback. You didn't participate. You didn't see this coming. There's no foresight. No way you could have thought this was coming ahead of time. So I'm just saying, in this situation, it may be good to give him a run through. See if you can get something out of him. You're not going to win with Geno Smith. So whether it's Cam or whether you feel like it's somebody else, you need to bring somebody in who can win you some games. And no disrespect to Geno Smith, but it's not him.
Well, and here's the thing. Based on what we've seen on social media today, most people didn't even know Geno Smith was Russell Wilson's backup. So I know good and well that none of you know who would have actually been behind Geno Smith. And I promise you this, at the very least, even if you think that there's a world in which Geno Smith is a better option than Cam Newton, you certainly don't think there's one in which the guy who's backing up Geno Smith is better than Cam Newton. And you're going to need a backup quarterback. Just saying.
You definitely
throwing
are.
It out there.
You definitely are. I'm just saying, man, my thing is if you want to win, if you're comfortable saying, you know what, Russell's gone, we're going to see if Geno can get it done for a few games. And then, hey, if we go down, we get a better draft pick. If that's the way you want to roll, cool. But if you're really trying to win.
Well, you can't get a better draft pick. You can't get a better draft pick. You traded your draft pick.
You can for all the rounds other than the first. So you can get a higher pick in every other round.
Well, man, that first is the one that really matters.
Well, I mean, if you're a team that's rebuilding, you don't have a first, you still want to have higher for your first pick. So that's all I'm saying, you know.
So Joe points out that the NFLPA does back Cam. They were not backing Cap at the time.
Yeah, that's a good point. Joe, it's a very good point. But I'm just saying, like, play on the field, I think Cam still can give you something. And you may want to be looking at people because, like you said, you're going to need a backup for Geno. But the thing is, I think teams are not bringing in Cam, number one. I don't know if he's gotten vaccinated since the whole issue, but vaccination status is one thing. And I believe another thing is if you're in a situation like this, you don't want Cam to come in, let's be real, and play really well, right? Because if he comes in and he plays really well, Russ comes back, and you're like, oh, well, you know, Russell can really take a couple of extra weeks and make sure his finger's completely healed. Where if you got like a Geno Smith in there, you lose a couple of games, Russ comes trotting out with some super mega brace thing on his finger so it doesn't get hurt any worse. He's the greatest thing in the world, you know. So they may be under the belief that they can get him back sooner than the prognosis, based on because I lean with that because I saw that the coach said that he's a fast healer. So I don't know what that means, but yeah.
I mean, what I will say is this. We both know this is a very tough division. I haven't looked to see what Seattle's schedule looks like over the next 4 to 6 weeks, but that could also play a huge part because if you have a lot of divisional games or you have a lot of tough games, this is not a division in which you can really afford to lose 3 or 4 games in the next month. This is a division in which you really need to have those wins if you want to be able to compete. So that's, to me, something that Seattle's definitely going to have to consider. But even if you brought Cam in at this point, let's be real. He's not going to play for at least 2-3 weeks anyways.
Shoot, man. Get that dude in. You got 10 days before the next game. And, you know what I'm saying, you try to make it work. And Megan, you are completely correct.
So Megan does point out that Pete Carroll's obviously not a doctor.
Not at all.
But he might have stayed in a Holiday Inn Express last night, Megan.
Mm-hmm. Or La Quinta. But nah, man. Another thing I just wanted to quickly at least talk on a little bit.
Billy V, the answer to your question is no, it is not the same.
Yeah, the PA is the Players Association, so they kind of back the players, and they do have a push, right? So if the NFLPA is backing you, then you have a higher probability of being able to get back in the league because they're not going to allow you to be blackballed. As far as Kaepernick went, they just was like, yeah, you on your own, bro. So you already know what's going to happen with that.
So real quick, I know you want to change subjects here, but while we're switching gears, just kind of throw in the comments for all of you who don't think that Cam's going to get another chance. who do you see the Seahawks bringing in?
Yeah, or trying to work out because they got to bring in somebody.
Because I mean, let's say that Geno goes out the next game and he just stinks it up. Who might they turn to if it's not Cam?
And he does need somebody to at least be his backup, right? So who do you want it to be? Since a lot of you, as you said, are saying that you don't think Cam has it. So see, we're getting a couple of comments, but while that's coming on, man, just want to quickly touch on NBA news, right? This is kind of funny, y'all. So I'm laughing while I'm trying to get it out to you. So, we had a story come out about 18 former NBA players that were charged with pocketing about $2.5 million on the scheme with health and welfare benefits that they get from the league. So not going to go too much into detail, not going to name people or anything yet because it's a newer story. One of the things that we try to do is wait until we get more information before we really go too deep into it. But just want to say quickly, man, when I'm thinking about it, I'm kind of like, why are you doing this? Like, these are not guys that are the high-level players. Obviously, these are backups, lesser-known players, people that we may know once the names are all there, and we talk about it in detail probably next week. But these are not guys that you're like, you were broke, you didn't make any money in the league, so what are you doing? So it's one of those things, man. I just simply say this about it. You could be smart. You can be, you think intelligent, scammer, things like that. But when you're dealing with a large corporation, large business like the NBA, those things are going to come to light, man. Be smarter. It doesn't pay to try to cut corners, back in things like this to try to get a couple of bucks, man. It's not worth it. You know what I'm saying? It's just not worth it. So don't do it, man. Be smarter than that. Just use your intelligence, man. Go get you a little, high school, college coaching gig or something, and make a few bucks if that's the issue. But don't do things like this, man. You tarnish your legacy a little bit more, and it's just a bad look all around, man. So be smarter than that, man. Just be smart.
Yeah. So Joe put, the optics of this don't look good. I mean, I would agree. The optics definitely don't look good. I jokingly told you before the show that I don't see what the big deal is. Steve Nash stole money for 3 years from the Lakers, way more money than what they got out of this. So I don't see the big deal about it. But at the end of the day, man, obviously this is something that's going to affect those players. I don't think it's going to have any long-term ramifications on the league itself or anything like that. So, I mean, unless something new comes out about it, then it just kind of is what it is.
And I'm gonna say this: Joseph and Megan have both said RG3.
Yeah.
If it gets RG3 out of the booth, talking games, I'm all for it. Because I don't know if y'all watched or if you heard RG3 before, but listen, bro, you got to be better. I'm sorry, you got to be better,
bro.
If
it means not having to listen to any more of his dad jokes, I will write a letter of recommendation for RG3 to go be the backup quarterback in Seattle.
Tyler says, who's Jake Luton? So the thing is, man, dudes that were like on the practice squad, I say like, you didn't make the team for a reason, right? If you weren't better than Geno Smith, do you really want that dude to be the backup? You know what I'm saying? And I mean, that's just my opinion. I know if something were to happen to my quarterback, I would want someone to come in who I felt competent in. Hey, maybe they swing a trade with Philly to get the stash. Slide them out for third and fourth round pick.
Joe said that, he remembers him as RG3 being their backup in Baltimore, and Megan says, "Welcome to the QB drought, Seattle." in comparing their backup situation to the backup quarterback situation in Dallas.
Yeah, that's tough. Yeah. Dallas is they're really putting a lot on hoping that Dak stays healthy. And I mean, you got to do what you got to do, right? You paid him a lot of money. You got to do what you got to do. But I feel you, Megan. I've been there a couple of years. And Joseph,
and he disagrees with
trash. He is trash as a commentator. He is trash. Okay.
Super trash.
It's bad. Right? I'm not even trying to hate on him. because I don't, I try to give, everybody, he's bad. If you haven't seen him, you'll see him, and then you go be like, oh my gosh, this is what this dude is out here doing. He definitely should be quarterbacking rather than doing that. I definitely would say that that's a better option for him.
Yeah, pretty much, man. Pretty much. Minshew is a thought. Apparently, Megan wants the Eagles to trade Minshew over to Seattle, man.
Hey, man, I don't mind trading the stash, man, because you know exactly what's going to happen. Jalen Hurts goes out and have a bad game. Everybody's going to be like, we should try Gardner Minshew. Let's just go and get him out of there. We don't have to worry about that. Be gone. Be gone. So that's just my thing.
Joe gonna float on every Ravens quarterback in the world.
Listen, if they want Joe, they can have him for a smoke and a pancake. That's it. It's a smoke and one pancake. You can have him.
So other NBA news. Andrew Wiggins did go ahead and get vaccinated. We talked about that story last week. Kind of wondering if some of these guys would end up doing that or not. And the Portland Trail Blazers apparently laughed in the face of the 76ers, who basically have come out and said, Ben Simmons, you're garbage. We don't think that you have anything redeemable about you. We don't want you on the team anymore. But yet we expect someone else to give us 3 first-round draft picks for you.
So I want to do something that I should have did a couple of weeks ago. I want to call audible on Ben Simmons and the Philadelphia 76ers. Okay? Make this fast. We got 2 very intelligent gentlemen waiting. That's going to be hopping on with us to talk some football. So I'm going to make this real fast. You shouldn't have paid Ben Simmons that money. I understand it was a different general manager at the time. You shouldn't have paid him the money. He doesn't deserve it. Point blank. Ben Simmons, I thought you were going to be this tough guy and you were going to sit out and you were not going to play, because you were going to force a trade. Oh, but then you realize that you're going to get penalized every game you don't play and you're going to lose a lot of money. So now you're softening your stance up a little bit. Mm-hmm. And as my co-host said, Philadelphia, you don't believe in the guy. You've dogged the guy. Your best player doesn't even want to play with him, but you think somebody's going to give you 3 first-round picks and 3 pick swaps. Yep. That's the equivalent of somebody saying, I'm going to trade you a first-rounder for Geno Smith. It's not going to happen.
Right.
So understand this right here, Philadelphia. The whole Simmons situation is your fault completely. And Ben Simmons, the fact that you don't have a jump shot, that's your fault and your fault completely. So if you want to go out here and you want to get traded, you should have took the offseason and you should have worked on getting a jump shot. Once you get a jump shot, then maybe somebody will give 1 or 2 first-round picks for you. But you're not the caliber of player that's going to get what Philadelphia wants for you right now. In Philadelphia, you're not an organization that you're going to pull it off.
So Megan says that Simmons needs to find a dumpster and jump in it. He might want to be careful about that because the 76ers will probably set it on fire. Tyler says that the Sixers are going to regress regardless because of chemistry issues, which may very well be possible. And Joe points out that Ben Simmons has never been able to shoot, but people kept thinking that he might be able to be better in spite of that. And I think that's a good point, Joe. So we'll see. And Tyler, I also feel that you have a good point here in saying that this is a team that's been together for a couple years, but it seems like every year something messes them up. So the chemistry is definitely off in that building. So we'll see what happens there. I think my co-host is off coughing up a lung. So I'm going to go ahead and bring our 2 guests in to introduce themselves until he gets back. What's going on, fellas?
What's going on?
What's up?
And welcome to the show, man. Y'all going to introduce yourself to the peoples, man.
I guess I'll go first. So Bryce Lewis, big Atlanta fan, big Falcon fan. You can catch my shows on my YouTube at Bryce Lewis. I do Atlanta Falcons and Atlanta Hawks fan shows for the team where I talk to guys in the industry, talk about the team, 10, 15 minutes usually. So not too long, just enough for you to want more. Also, I write on my website at Bryce_2K if you want to see my articles on the Falcons Hawks there. Plus, I also write for Soaring Down South, FanSided for the Atlanta Hawks as well, if you want to catch me there. And if you want to follow me on social media, you can follow me at Brycey_2K as well. And in that. So super excited to be on here. Glad y'all welcome me on here. Always good to talk sports.
Absolutely, man. Got a fellow AT alien on the call with me, although I'm not a fan of any Atlanta sports whatsoever. But then again, I mean, you know how it is here in Atlanta. Most of us aren't fans of
there's a lot of implants in
local
Atlanta,
teams.
so I can't be surprised by
And what's going on?
No, I was just going to say, go ahead and introduce yourself, Couch Coach.
Yeah, I'm Couch Coach, host of Couch Coach Live, also host of the Washington Football Guys podcast, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram on the Couch Coach Live. And Bryce, man, thank you guys for that win on Sunday. Definitely appreciate it.
Oh yeah, man. City was in shambles after that one.
Oh man, it was, and that's actually a game I went to, and it was awesome. I mean, it was great atmosphere at the Benz. I loved it.
Yeah, man. I mean, like I said, we got bounced back in London, so that's all we can do.
Yeah.
I just want to say, man, these two gentlemen here are also part of the NBA Carousel. Well, shout out to Megan Price in the comments as the host of.
Yeah.
So some of my NBA Carousel brethren on here. We all talking a little football. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man. So first up, we got the game that you guys are here to talk about. Right? I guess y'all gonna talk about both of them today, huh?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So cool. Which one you want to start with? You got a preference?
Hey, man, we might as well start with the ATL Jets game, man. The London Live game, the first early morning game.
Yeah, y'all don't forget to wake up at 9:30 a.m. Eastern time to catch that.
Yes.
To catch the Falcons and the Jets.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, listen, like this week's gonna be interesting. Obviously, I don't know if y'all heard, we're down our top two receivers this week. Calvin Ridley didn't make the trip. Russell Gage is still hurt, so a lot of our younger receivers are gonna play this week. Obviously, we've been already making jokes about Brian's throwing nobody now outside of Kyle Pitts. So definitely early key to the game. Don't be surprised if we go a lot of two tight ends early in the game, and a lot just because that's where the strength of our receiving core is right now. But it's a big game for us, clearly, because if obviously we gave that game away at Washington, it's one of those things where it's like, listen, the way we balled out, if we had just put our foot in the gas, we probably would have won the game, and we didn't. So now we're 1-3, and at least we can win this game potentially against the Jets. Go into the bye week 2-3. Still feels different than being potentially 3-2 going into the break, and not everybody feeling like the team's on fire. But it's something we can manage. And right now we really just we're still trying to figure some things out with the team. Like I said, we got new coaching staff, both sides, new offensive defensive coordinators. It's been a roller coaster experience for sure. And really right now, I think the best thing for us to get back on track is to get a win. Again, we're playing the Jets. Obviously, they just got their first win last week. So I think that actually helps because now when we go into film study and everything this week, we can be like, okay, they just beat the Titans. The Titans aren't a slouch. They can play. Just, they're that reminder of, all right, we got to take these guys seriously. And so, we don't want to be a team that loses to the Jets going into our bye week. And now everybody's just like, we might need to blow up the team already 5 games in. So it's definitely something that, hopefully we come out and play well. London games are always kind of weird because it feels like a lot of time you always got one team who comes prepared, one team never is prepared. I don't know if it's because they ain't used to the London thing. They got too into the, stuff around the town, but hopefully we're the team that's actually prepared and we're ready to go this week, even with the injuries. And hopefully our younger guys can step up. So just got to see what happens. It's the early game. So I'll know pretty early in my day if it's going to be a good day or a bad day.
So we have a question for you, man, Bryce. We were told to ask you why you're not using that coveted tight end pick from the first round, Kyle Pitts.
Listen, that's been a question that's been debated a lot. Why are we not using him more? I mean, I honestly don't know. I don't think it's a matter of Ryan not giving him the ball. I think sometimes it's just the play calls and everything. Because Ryan has always been a guy who has always worked best in a just whoever is open capacity. And sometimes and I think this last game, because Washington, I think we definitely tried to give him the ball more. But if you the game, we dropped a lot of passes. Kyle dropped some passes as well. So I think this week for sure we'll put him in the game plan more. I think, again, last week, since we got him more involved and tried to, I think we'll do that here against the Jets, hopefully, because I know everybody's looking for him to have this breakout game. Biggest thing I want to see if they do get him more involved is to go down the field more. I think we've tried to use him more on a lot of short slants and stuff like that. He has speed. Why don't we send him down the field? Because I don't think there's not a lot of guys who can match it with Kyle Pitts, just one-on-one straight line speed down the field, especially at the linebacker safety spot. So hopefully we use him that role more this week, give him more opportunities for big plays. And, like I said, with our top two receivers going down, he's technically wide receiver 1 this week for us if you look at our top pass targets. So hopefully Arthur Smith says, all right, Kyle Pitts going to have a big game for us this week.
Patterson, and Tyler brings this up too. Patterson has been playing really well for y'all, which I know because I have him on a fantasy team. So I've been very happy with his use the last couple of weeks. Do you see him staying at that running back position, or do you feel like they might need to move him out to wide receiver for this week?
Well, it's actually kind of funny because when, last week for the first time we activated Wayne Gallman, former New York Giants running back, and I felt like last year they used him more of a receiver way. Mm-hmm. Like it's like the first part of the game we used him as a running back, and we kind of pretty much saw him make all his plays, in the passing game. Obviously, he's a receiver, so even coming out of the backfield, he's a legitimate wide receiver coming out of the backfield. But right. I feel like from what I saw, they were trying to make Mike Davis and Wayne Gallman the main running backs, and then Cordell is kind of the guy who's just all over the field. Yep. So we'll see if that's still the plan this week. I think what you can do with him is what you sometimes say with some running backs who are really good out of the backfield, maybe give him like 10, 15 touches in the ground, try to get him about 5, 10 touches through the air and see what he can do, because he's very effective either way. He's been a revelation for us this year. He's really been very effective. I said, hopefully, man, if he continues to play like this, they may even put him in Pro Bowl conversation. I don't know if they're going to put him in as a running back or receiver, but, maybe one of those two. But he's been balling. He has definitely been a bright spot for us. And I think that's the one player we've at least shown we know how to use, because he's a mismatch coming out of the backfield most of the time, but also he's a receiver and can make plays out there as well.
Yeah, for me, the thing I think that has benefited him a lot is coming out of that backfield a lot, because when you're asking him to line up as a wide receiver, defenders have an opportunity to jam him. They have an opportunity to take some of that speed away. When he's coming out of the backfield, it gives him the opportunity to get into space a little bit easier. So the Falcons have done a good job of utilizing that. And Joseph was asking, what's the status of using Kyle Pitts and Hayden Hurst?
I mean, the big thing I think a lot of people have been surprised about has been Hayden Hurst. I think Hayden Hurst Hayden Hurst is still a relatively young player. Like, he's not like 32 or anything. Like, he's relatively young. He's still can be an effective tight end. I just think, I've been a person who's been like, from what I'm seeing, it feels like the coaching staff is still trying to learn how to use the personnel and everything. And I think, when you have that second tight end, it's very easy for him to get lost in the shuffle, especially when everybody's healthy. Like, Cordell's doing it, Calvin Ridley, Kyle Pitts, what I'm saying, Tajay Sharp, all that thing. So Hurst, I hope it also is very much involved this week. I think he'll be key now, because he can play. And then, Kyle Pitts, like I said, I expect him to have a big week as well, because again, they may really run the offense through those guys. And I think we're waiting for him to have that breakout game, what I'm saying? Because it will give you a good feeling going into the bye week that we have coming after this game, and potentially puts us in a position where, sometimes at bye weeks where team seasons change, turn around, if you do find any rhythm, if you do find the right formula for your team and what you want to do, and maybe this is a really good opportunity for a lot of the young guys we have playing and the guys who maybe haven't had as much action early in the season, but really fall out, make an impression on the coaching staff, and continue to get those touches even after bye week.
Coach,
static on the line.
Yeah, I know that you're not the Jets guy, but do you see any things that the Jets may be able to do to kind of catch themselves a win this week?
A lot of it. I think, like Bryce was saying earlier, that momentum of beating Tennessee, I think definitely helps them. Definitely gives confidence to Zach Wilson. I think a lot of us were ready to write him off. I mean, what was the game where he had four receptions and four interceptions or something of that nature, and everybody was writing him off. He's a bust. Now he's a rookie of the week. I think he'll have a pretty strong week. Then also. Um, Michael Carter. I think Michael Carter's going to go off in this game. I think he's starting to kind of emerge as one of the top running backs for this team. Then just the receiving core. I think they're starting to get together. Like the Corey Davis to Zach Wilson connection is starting to get a little hot and heavy. A lot of people was a lot of Corey Davis fans saying, well, he was the redheaded stepchild in Tennessee, but now he's starting to emerge and kind of do his thing. And then on defense, the Williams brothers, I think they'll guys get a nice heavy dose of those of Quincy and Quentin doing their thing. And I think offensively, I think the Jets can take care of business. Just because of the fact of and Zach Wilson's finally, I think he's finally getting to his zone. I think he's getting to a point where I think all the noise it's still going to be around, but I think it's going to get a lot better. His career starting to progress more now. Now he's starting to see some success, and then I think that's really the big key in this game is the quarterback play, and I think Zach Wilson um, could definitely have another good game under his belt.
You're muted, cool. You're muted.
You guys couldn't hear me. I was just saying since you was mentioned the Williams brothers, want to get him a shout out, man. It's the first brother duo to get sacks in the same game, so want to get him a shout out for that. Definitely, that's a major.
Yep.
Yeah, man. So I think we know who Bryce is going to pick, and we'll hop on the picks in a little bit. But we're going to go ahead and roll into this football team game, man. Couch Coach, and let you tell us what's going to be happening with the football team this week against the Saints, man. What's going on?
Well, good thing Washington football team we're at home. To me this looks like to me I look at it's a crossroads game in so many different ways. Obviously, both teams are 2-2. I think whoever loses obviously is going to be 2-3, and the season is going to look a little bit different compared to the other. And then the quarterback play. I mean, you look at like Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston's finally having a year that I think we kind of envisioned him to have especially in the beginning of the Bruce Arians situation. Now he's in Tampa and New Orleans. We kind of envisioned he was going to have somewhat these type of numbers where he was going to eight touchdowns and two interceptions. And then the other one, then Tyler Haneke, another guy who's emerged now as somewhat of a bona fide quarterback in this league. I mean, he had an inspiring homecoming game last week against the Falcons. My bad, Bryce, but I want to bring that up. But that's another one when you look at it. There's a lot of things, and this is going to be another one where I think you got to. But this is another one where it's going to be very interesting. This defense, what the defense is going to do now. They're like one of the worst pass defense team in the league. Now you got a guy like you got Alvin Kamara coming to town. You got the Swiss Army knife that is Taysom Hill. I'm really curious about what that defense is going to do with that personnel. And I've always circled it like who's going to be the wide receiver that's going to like go off. We talked about Emmanuel Sanders against Buffalo. He went off. CP went off. Kadera Patterson went off last week. And I think the biggest issue is probably either Taysom Hill, and it's weird because you have Taysom Hill in so many different scenarios. I'm just really curious what this defense is going to do. And the defense, in a weird way, in Atlanta, they kind of show some flashes to kind of how they were previously. I just didn't like. I like the fact that we did get 6 quarterback hits, but we didn't get. We only got 1 sack, which that's kind of another daunting task
consider the fact that Matt Ryan is like a statue in the pocket, that really concerns me. I definitely thought we would have had a little bit more pressure on Matt Ryan last week, but
Now we got a question for you, Couch Coach, about Chase Young. It's been brought up a couple of times, but just wanted to get to the game before we discussed it. But how do you feel about Chase Young, man, and what he's doing this year? Do you feel like he needs to be more involved? Maybe it's just, a little fall off. It's taking him a little bit of time to get together. What do you think, man?
the thing is this, and it's weird because he's getting pressure, but he's not getting in time, and that could be a lot of things. It could be it's a lot of factors in there. It could just be just his technique. It could be a lot of things, but a lot of it is just like you know, it's weird to kind of essentially pinpoint on it. But yeah, he definitely needs to be more involved, and it's something about this defense. This defense has changed. Like you can like last year you could tell they were in it. They were in the fight. They were engaged. This year it feels totally different. Like something is off, and it's just weird. Like I've never seen like a situation where we went from being number two total defense to now 28, and it's just like and it's only a matter of this is a year. This is and this is supposed to be our strength of our team. Where now it's just the most bizarre thing where we really got to rely on our offense to win the game. And in theory, we were thinking, well, defense is going to take you home. That's how it was in that stretch run where we were getting turnovers, we were pressuring, and we were actually getting to the quarterback. And now it's non-existent, and that's why it's weird, especially considering the fact that we've had like elusive quarterbacks so far, but even the ones that wasn't elusive, we didn't really get much pressure on them that you would envision. But yeah, I think it's a scheme thing, scheme and technique as well. And Jack Del Rio is saying the right things, but I don't necessarily think that what he's saying during the week is translated on Sunday.
Yeah. Coach, I think something's up with either your mic or your headset. It's got some static in it, just so you know.
It might be my mic. I'm on mute.
But yeah, I mean, I think you make some good points. And this is something I've been looking at with a couple of teams around the league because I've noticed a trend that teams at the last couple of years that have had really good pass rushes have been struggling here this season to generate a consistent pass rush. And Washington definitely being one of those teams where you have a lot of talent up front, and it's like, okay, so why all of a sudden are they not getting it? And one thing I've noticed is, and we saw it last night with Aaron Donald, where multiple times they had guys double teaming him, grabbing him, holding him, and he's not getting flags. And this is something I've noticed kind of consistently. So are you picking that up with Washington also? Are you seeing some of those guys getting held and not getting the calls this year?
I think it's more so.
Well, obviously, that addressed the elephant in the room that the play against Matt Ryan last week, I think, which was totally, was BS. I think it just boils down to just the chemistry of this team, where they don't seem.
Yeah, so this team is not as like how it normally would be in previous situations where they were engaged. You look how they played for each other last year versus now.
Everybody's on the island and everybody's just doing their own thing, and it's very weird. It's just a very weird scenario what's going on with this team, and it's just like you can't really put a finger on it. What's truly going on with this team, but they got to figure it out. I mean, that's the thing about this. They need to figure out real fast. We got so many MVP as quarterbacks coming down the line. Patrick Mahomes next week, Aaron Rodgers in 2 weeks. Tom Brady in a month, and go and so on and so forth. So they got to get it together.
Yeah, Joseph brings up a good point that your defense, obviously everything starts with that defensive front. If you're not getting pressure on the quarterback with that defensive front, it really impacts your entire defense.
I just want to say, man, take your time getting it together, man. You don't have to rush.
Absolutely. Because you're seeing what's going on now in those scenarios where, the quarterbacks are able to get it off, and then look how our secondary is getting like trashed and playing bases every week in and week out. And I don't want to put no names out there. William Jackson, I'm not bad, but but you see those type of plays where you see it in those circumstances where he's everywhere. He's like, I look at so many plays, especially like in the Atlanta game. It's like I remember that first touchdown with CP. Those guys was in my backyard. Cordell Patterson was at the bins, like by himself. Like they were miles away in separation. But like you said, that's what it really boils down to. And like you said, if you have a dominant front like that negates everything. That's stuff, It has a lot of that, because I think that's what happened last year, where our linebacker core was bad last year. Like as far as a lot of guys getting stuff in the middle. But you had that pass rush, and then you had scenarios where you, like I was talking about earlier, where we had those turnovers. We had, like, I remember one we had against San Francisco. We had one against Cam Curl had one. Chase Young had one. And they had situations where we created turnovers. Now when you get that initial penetration on that line, then everything else get exposed, and we're just getting blown off the top of in every which way. So now, if you're your second or third wide receiver, you better start them on fantasy when you're playing our team. That's how it's been. I mean, literally, it's almost like Deontay Harris or Marquez Callaway. Hell, start them on your fantasy this week, and vice versa.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna be doing that. Yeah. But Bryce, so quick question for you. I know that was a comment, but quick question for you. On your end, what do you think the Saints can do to win this game on Sunday?
The Saints just need to be consistent. They've been very inconsistent this season. You saw them destroy Green Bay, and then you saw them lay egg the next week, and then you saw them bounce back, and then you saw them lose to the winless Giants. Right now, consistency is the biggest issue. We knew this season was going to be different for the Saints when they lost a lot of guys, and like Thomas is in there, and Drew Brees, and it was like, where would the Saints be? And right now, I think they're still trying to figure out what they are and what they're trying to be. Like they still have really good defense to me. I think they still got some guys. I'm saying Marcus Lattimore, obviously, Cam Jordan, guys up front that can really get after it. Tyler Heineke might be on the run a little bit this week. It's one thing the Saints can do, we can't do, is get pressure. So, it's one of those things where, I think if they are consistent, Jameis Winston is consistent. Because Jameis, I've noticed too, obviously in Bruce Arians' system, we always knew it was kind of a risk-it-biscuit offense. You got to be aggressive, which could lead to high turnovers. And you saw what that did for him. In this offense, it's much more conservative. Obviously, play calls designed to not put you in those situations. And that's why he's been efficient early. But sometimes you can say that it's the third quarter. I'm looking at the stat line. It's 15 of 20, and he only has 173 yards. And it's like, you're going to need more. You're going to need more explosive pass plays, because that's one thing that you have now this year that you didn't have with Drew last year. Is you can take those deep shots. So they need to be more aggressive offensively, definitely on that end. And so if they can hold up front against Washington, as we know, their secondary is very susceptible. And this may be a big week for Jameis and the offense to maybe start to get it going, because I think that's going to be big for him right now. Because, like I said, since they've been so inconsistent, you don't know what Saints team's going to come out this week. I'm sure they're, mad about, losing to the Giants. And they're trying not to lose to another NFC East team this week. So we'll have to see. But I think if they can get some consistency on offense, get some big plays over the top, and defensively, I think, like I said, they've been good for the most part. They just got to continue to play well defensively, get a couple of turnovers, and I think they'll have a good chance to win this game this week against Washington.
So Joseph was, saying that, the consistency is the issue, but he wants to talk about Jameis. He's actually made a couple of comments in the about Jameis over here, and
yes.
so he wants to kind of address that. So here's what I would tell you about Jameis. I'm a Florida State fan, so I know Jameis very, very well.
We didn't need Nate, Joseph. We already got Nate right here.
I know Jameis very well, and here's what I would tell you. Jameis is and always has been that guy who will put the team on his shoulders for good or bad. And sometimes that works out well. Sometimes because he's very talented. Sometimes he goes out there and wins, but sometimes he tries to do too much. He doesn't rely enough on his playmakers and allow other guys to do their job and make plays for him. He feels like he has to go out there and make it all the time, which is what leads, in my opinion, to a lot of the turnovers. Now, I will tell you this about Jameis. The one thing he may actually have going for him this week against a team like Washington, if they get that pass rush actually going, is Jameis actually becomes more dangerous if he doesn't have as much time to think. If he can just go out there and react and make plays, he's actually more deadly. The best thing you can do with Jameis is let him sit back there and analyze things and overthink it, because then he's going to do something stupid. That's what Jameis does. So it's actually the opposite of what you might expect.
Yeah, and also you got to look at last week they had a bad game. So they pretty much, so far this year, the pattern is good game, bad game, good game, bad game, good game, bad game. So we'll see if the pattern continues, but at least so far, we're getting at least every other game. They're probably having a solid game. So my thing with Jameis is I think we have to understand with Jameis right now, in order to break what my co-host is talking about, what you have to do is you have to say, okay, check it. We're going to dumb it down really low this year. We're only going to have you do certain things. We're going to have you condition yourself. Let's take the dips and the dunks. Let's take the smart plays so that we can get your mind thinking this. We can get you into this mindset. Then as the year goes on next year, you start to say, okay, now, Jameis, we're going to open it up a little bit more for you. Don't make the mistakes. If you don't have the big play, just, saying dunk, dip and dunk. So I think you got to change the way he's playing. So I think that's why you're seeing, like Bryce was saying, a lot of times you're seeing a lot of passes, not a lot of yards, but you're breaking that mentality of, oh, if things are going bad, let me be a gunslinger. Because Jameis as a gunslinger can make great plays for you, but at the same time, he can shoot you in the foot. Jameis as a guy that says, okay, let me take the play that's there for me. Let me have quick reads, take the play that's there for me. If I have a shot down the field, I'll take it. If I don't, I'm not going to force anything. That's what you want. So I think that's why you're seeing the offense look different this year as well. It's because you're kind of reining him in a little bit and saying, let's start here and then let's build on that.
Yeah. I mean, it's not that he can't handle a complex offense. It's that you really need to make it to where you're limiting his opportunities to do something crazy. You really got, like my co-host is alluding to here, you have to make him make smart decisions. Because otherwise, he just tries to go out there and do it on his own. You got to put him in positions where you teach him to rely on his playmakers to go make plays for him. Stop trying to force it.
And Joseph, you want him to just be the guy that's the middle of the pack quarterback, right? Because you want him to take less risk. So that's going to result in less stats, but also that's going to result in less poor plays. The poor plays are what we don't want, because the poor plays, well, that's what Couch Coach wants, but the rest of us don't want the poor plays because we want them to get an opportunity, to play well and, try to develop. But hey, that's what you want from any quarterback. Some guys come in, they do well from the beginning. Some guys, you got to get a change of scenery. You got to get the right coach and the right system before you play well. Look at Ryan Tannehill, for example, perfect example, last few years. So some of those things to just kind of consider when we're talking Jameis Winston. A lot of people dog Jameis Winston, and I think they do it a little bit too much. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve some of it, but I'm just saying understand where he's at and what they're trying to do with him as the guy that they're hooking their line on to long term to see if he can be that guy for them.
Yeah, and Joe, just as a point here, man, leading your team and putting them on your back doesn't mean that you always have to hit big chunk plays all the time. You can, Tom Brady has made an entire career out of leading his team and putting him on his back by dinking and dunking his way all the way down the field. So you don't have to go for these big chunk plays, and that's what Jameis has to learn. He has to learn how to manage the game. Yeah, when those big throws are there, take them. Absolutely. You got the arm for it. You got the talent. You should do it. But at the same time, when it's not there, don't throw into double and triple coverage just because you want to take a deep shot. Learn to check down to the guy that's going to get you 5-6 yards.
Or your running back, because you got a running back that you can check the ball too easily as well. And, Tyler makes a great point there. They're built more to run the ball and play defense, to paraphrase it a little bit, but they definitely are. So it's kind of like what you want, what I want Philadelphia to do with Jalen Hurts. Run the ball, throw the ball a little bit, run the ball. I just think that's the best way, especially for guys who either are young, still learning the NFL speed, or guys who have issues with like turnovers, bad judgment. Sometimes you want to take some of that away, and let's try to work on getting the basics and then building it out.
So Joe said, he likes Jameis. He just doesn't get why he's not better than his resume suggests. Joe, I'm going to give you the perfect example here. The one game I got to go see in person in Tallahassee that Jameis played in was against Florida. He opened up the game, 4 consecutive drives, 4 turnovers. Put us down 28-0. We still won the game. That is Jameis in a nutshell. And because he was able to do that so often in college, where he would make these big mistakes and pull the team back, and even at the NFL level, he's been able to do it sometimes. He hasn't learned the full consequences of it yet. Because when you have those situations and you don't have a coach who reins you in and goes, look, it's great that you had the ability to come back from these situations, but stop putting us in them. Right. And hopefully that's what he's going to get out of Sean Payton. Hopefully Sean Payton's going to give him some discipline.
Absolutely.
Because he's got the talent.
I know hopefully you guys have been watching the show. You're on with us this week. So you know what time it is now. It's time for some picks, baby.
Pick time. So we do these pretty quick, so no long explanations necessary. If you want to give some feedback on a particular game, just a quick line or two is sufficient. Otherwise, just your pick is also acceptable.
Absolutely.
So we got the New York Jets at the Atlanta Falcons. So Bryce, are you taking the Falcons?
Yeah, I'm taking the Falcons.
I'm actually going to take the Jets on this one.
I'm actually taking the Falcons.
I'll take the Jets.
Okay, so we 2-2 on that one. The Lions at the Vikings. I'm going Lions to get their first win.
I'm going Vikings to whip that trick again.
I'll go Vikings.
Let's go. Give me the Vikings.
Okay. The Saints at the Washington football team.
Washington football team.
I'll actually take Washington football team too this week.
My co-host pointed out there's a trend. Good week, bad week. This week lands on a good week. I'm going to go Saints.
I'm going to begrudgingly, and I hate to come out of my mouth to say this, I'm going to go football team.
Okay. I don't mind being on an island over here. The Patriots at the Texans. For that one.
I have a rule. Patriots.
Yes, I have a rule too, and I'm also going to go Patriots.
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 Dolphins at the Bucks.
Sweet.
Tampa Bay.
Gonna go Bucks. I need the Bucks to get a big win and feel fat and happy for Thursday. Bucks.
Oh yeah.
I'm also gonna go Bucks. We've got the Packers at the Bengals.
I'm actually going Bengals. I'm upset.
Oof. I thought about a Green Bay. I got Green Bay.
Definitely Green Bay.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Green Bay too.
I like being on the island though, Bryce. I respect that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Gotta take a chance every now and then.
The Broncos at the Steelers. Broncos. The Eagles at the Panthers. Wonder who my co-host is going to take.
Eagles.
Keep pounding.
Yeah, Panthers.
The kittens.
Yeah, I'm going to leave you on the island on this one, cool, because I'm going Panthers also.
Let's go. Love the island.
The Titans at the Jags.
You know something? I think they'll continue to trend. I think Jacksonville gets their first win.
I'm going Jags too.
I'm going Jags too. This is a tough week. Yeah.
They got to win.
It can't get
They
no
got to
worse.
win.
It can't get no worse.
Yeah, they got to win.
Yeah, they don't trust their coach at all. I'm gonna go with the Titans.
The Titans with as many receivers, less receivers than the Falcons. I'll leave you on the island on that one, buddy.
They still got more receivers than the Jags.
Not necessarily.
Plus AJ
Brown's
Brown's gonna be back this week.
That doesn't matter. AJ Brown has done nothing this year. He hasn't been there when he was there. I have him in fantasy. Very disappointing.
Now this could be an interesting game. The Browns at the Chargers.
That's hard.
Go
I'm
Chargers,
gonna
go.
I'm gonna go with my gut and go Browns.
I go.
I'm gonna go Browns in that defense.
I'm on the Allen. Give me the Chargers.
Okay.
Nothing like that island, baby.
The Bears at the Raiders.
What week is this? Week 5?
Yep.
Raiders.
Got one more week before you start bending against that car.
Yep. Not Carr. The defense is going to crack.
Okay.
And their coach and his problems this week too.
Yes, that's true. give me the monster of the Midway in an upset. The Bears.
Okay.
I'll go Las Vegas.
The Bears.
The Bears.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Raiders on this one too.
And by the way, I always go Las Vegas just because I love Las Vegas. Just throw it out there. Nothing but the football team. But yeah.
Oh yeah.
Vegas.
Oh yeah.
So the 49ers at the Cardinals. Trey Lance getting his first start.
Cardinals.
This is real tough.
You know what? It's any given Sunday. Give me the 49ers.
I think I'm going to go 49ers too because the Cardinals are the only team that hasn't lost, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's time for them to get that L. I'm going to go, 49ers.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna take the Niners. It's a little bit of a homer pick,
Oh,
but it's
he's
not,
taking the Niners.
It's not,
Oh.
it's not completely unrealistic. It's not unrealistic. So I know you're shocked, man. I know. The Giants at the Cowboys.
A tie. No, but seriously, give me the Odyssey football team.
I'll take the Giants.
Give me the Dallas football team.
I'm going to pick Dallas, but I'm rooting for the Meteor.
I'm rooting for the Giants, but I'm going to pick Dallas because the Dallas football team is the better football team.
Unfortunately.
The Bills at the Chiefs.
I'll take the Bills this week.
I'm gonna take the Bills too. I'm taking the Bills.
KC feels susceptible to me. I'm going to go Bills.
Give me the Bills and get ready to pack your lunch at FedEx next week, guys, for the Chiefs. Get ready for next week.
Let's go.
I'm gonna be curious to see if anybody in the chat's gonna pick the Chiefs or if we're gonna have a clean sweep here.
All right, Steelers. We got a couple of Steelers picks in the chat for the Steelers.
We got the Colts at the Ravens. We know who Joe's picking.
Yeah, we know who Joe's picking.
And I'm picking them too. I'm going Baltimore.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going
Ravens.
Baltimore, yeah.
Ravens, yeah. Yeah.
And then next Thursday night. Cool. Who we got next Thursday night?
We got the magnificent Philadelphia Eagles and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
But I'm the homer. Okay.
Tampa Bay, I'm
are.
sorry, cool. Tampa Bay. I'm sorry, cool.
I ain't mad at you. Y'all know I'm going Eagles. We're going to catch them on a short week. We're going to get them.
Yeah.
We're gonna eke out a tight win in a short week. Because that defense, they in trouble. That defense is rough.
Well,
they picking up dudes off the street to play quarterback.
Are both y'all taking Tampa Bay?
Yeah.
Well, cool. You're not alone because I'm actually picking the Eagles.
Ooh.
Let's go.
So
My
that's
co-host
our
picked the
picks.
Eagles. Bro, you got to say this. I want this piece chopped. This dude picked the Eagles to win the game.
And if y'all lose, you're gonna be like, don't you ever pick my team again.
If we lose, I'm like, it wasn't you, bro. It wasn't you. But no, seriously,
man.
I know people think like when I pick the Eagles, they're like, oh, you're a homer. But here's the thing: there's 2 Eagles teams, so I'm just assuming the better version is going to show up. Clearly, that doesn't always happen. That's why we're 1-3. But if the best version of the Eagles show up, we have a really good chance to win both of these 2 games. But if that other version shows up, then yeah, it's not gonna be good.
I mean, to be real with you, and looking at what I have going on with my team right now, every logical thing in the world says that I should pick Arizona over us this week. But that's how the NFC West works. Is when it seems like a team should win, that's when they lose.
Yep.
And the thing too is the Cardinals. They've been cruising. Like I'm not saying they haven't had difficult games, but they the last undefeated team. It's time for them to fall, and this is a good trap game for them, right? You got Trey Lance starting for the first time. What do we always say about new quarterbacks? You don't know what he's going to do. You don't know what his tendencies are going to be. You don't know how he's going to throw the ball. You don't know how his cadences are going to be. You don't know anything about him as a starting quarterback. So this is a good trap game for Arizona.
All I'm going to say is win or lose, my biggest hope is that Kyle Shanahan goes out and lets Trey Lance be Trey Lance and doesn't try to turn him into Jimmy Garoppolo 2.0. Don't try to protect him. Just let him go out there and play. And if we lose, we lose. But so we'll see.
I'm hoping for 2-0 so we can get back to 3-3. So I can make Couch Coach wrong. Because he one of the people I was telling y'all, the people that picked my team had like 5 wins. Oh, he was one of them.
Yeah.
I got receipts.
I might be eating my words. How we been playing?
Look, all I'm gonna say is, can one of y'all please slow the Cowboys down? That's all I'm asking. You know.
Hey, man,
so listen, they got us early. I'm gonna get it to them, but the last week of the season, we're gonna see y'all again. So just remember that. And it may not mean nothing to y'all, but I don't want to hear no excuses with whatever happened in that game. That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay.
We get a rematch.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? We're gonna be ready by then. We're gonna be ready.
So yeah, we're gonna see. So Tyler does bring up a point that the Vikings missing a chip shot. The Cards wouldn't even be undefeated.
True.
So.
True.
You do need a little bit of luck sometimes.
Yep.
And just so everyone that's watching is aware, Tyler's going to be on Talking Green Bay with us next week. So we'll get these lovely antidotes. We'll be popped right in with you. So we'll see him live.
So he can come on. He can talk Green Bay. I've been waiting for about 3 weeks for him to come on and talk some trash about our game. He didn't show up. Like the only person who doesn't show up after his team wins. So I'm sure that I'm sure he'll be making up for some lost time next week and have some comments from me. So y'all might want to tune in and watch me have to eat some crow. So it'll be all right. I'll be okay. I'm a big boy. I can handle it.
So Joseph says he ain't mad at me. Baltimore can win every game too. Hey, that's how I didn't think we was gonna win last week, right? Because their offense is too dynamic. So I didn't think we was gonna win last week. But I'm saying I don't think Tampa Bay's defense is any better now because their corners is their defense is in shambles right now from injuries. You know what I'm saying? They're nowhere near the defense they were last year. And we don't have Justin Tucker, Joseph. You don't have to keep reminding us, Joe. We know. You got Joe Tucker. No, Justin Tucker. We know.
Listen. Every single team in the league, except for Houston and Jacksonville, is capable of winning a game.
I'm going against the rule, but just for 1 week.
Yeah. I would say except for Houston, but they did beat Jacksonville, so I have to say Houston or Jacksonville. So only they play each other to have a chance.
And the Jets too, bro. The Jets is right there with them.
But the Jets won a game.
They might have won one, bro, but still, they still in the same boat, in my opinion.
I mean, I mean, they got some room to go. Yeah, we'll see. But yeah, man, that is it for this week, man. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Appreciate Bryce
sir.
and Couch Coach joining us this week and coming dropping some knowledge on their teams. Make sure y'all come back next week. We're gonna have Tyler on for sure. I'm sure we're gonna have one or two other people join us as well to talk about some of the other games. But make sure that y'all go ahead and hit that subscribe button down in the bottom right hand corner. And if you've already hit subscribe, do us a favor, man. Hit that little like button and tell YouTube that you want to see more of the play callers.
Because you know you do. You know you do.
You know you do. Until next week, I'm Box.
It's your boy Cool.
And we are
The
Play
Callers.